Angie and I have known each other for some time, and she's sort of gone through child-rearing issues, and she and I have had a lot of conversation back and forth about things that have happened in her home with her kids. The reason that I asked her to come tonight is because she has taken some of the things that I have been teaching on and has actually worked with it and has results from it. And I want you all to hear about results more than anything else.
Well, when Abby was about 14 months old, and I had never met Doc West before, I came to a MOPS meeting, and he wanted to use a child to teach the moms there how to teach their 1-year-old the meaning of the word no. And they had another child all set up to do it, and everyone was buzzing about how great it was going to be, and I thought that I was a pretty effective mother and kind of sat back like, thinking maybe you didn't have a whole lot to teach me. Well, the child that they had chosen was having a really rough day, so they asked me if I would go get my 1-year-old and teach her the meaning of the word no. It was this 1-year-old. And so I went and grabbed her from the nursery.
What was her response to no at that time from you?
I didn't know not to use the word no, so it was just irrelevant. She just didn't.
So it didn't have an effect on her when you said no?
No effect.
Did that bother you?
It was starting to bother me.
Starting to bother you a little bit.
But she was still kind of a baby.
And this is very normal. This is very normal to just let it slide. Well, I didn't get obedience that time, maybe next time. Well, I didn't get it again. Well, I didn't get it again. But this is how it develops. Mm-hmm. It's not requiring it when you say it. We'll give a practice that'll show up the next time you say it. This has to do with reputation. Do you all remember going from the 6th grade to the 7th grade and talking to a bunch of 7th graders, and they say to you, who do you have next year for his class? And you say, I have Ms. So-and-so, and say, oh, you can't get away with anything with that woman. She's got eyes in the back of her head. She'll catch everything you do. You might as well hang it up. It's over with. Your life is over. She'll kill you. Who you have? I have Mr. So-and-so. Oh man, you get away with murder with that guy. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know the score. He doesn't show up half the time. What is this about? The classroom starts that fall with children already knowledgeable about the teachers, already knowledgeable about it. Your reputation is built in your home day to day. I'm a person that's obeyed. I'm not a person that's obeyed. Your reputation, every time you say no, your reputation is going up or going down. Every time you say no, it's going up or going down. If your reputation goes up and then up and then up and then up, after a while, it's real easy to raise children. It's just real easy to raise children. But if you don't, if the struggle is there, one time, down time, one time, back and forth this way, it goes on and on and on.
And that's where I was with Abby. If I would say come and she wanted to come, she would come. But if she didn't want to come, she would keep playing. And I was, well, she didn't want to come. So I would just go on with my day.
Okay, now this is an example of unteachable in a moment, teachable in a moment. Do you see that? If you had thought about it, could you have predicted in this moment she likely would keep on playing?
Yes.
Yes. Even at age 1, she could predict probably in this moment she probably would not come if I gave the command. Do you see that? In another moment, you say, I don't know why. I think she'll do it.
Food.
Yeah, that might be it. Or something she's interested in. There are all kinds of reasons why a child might obey in a moment. And also, there's things that you read them and you can see, you're not going to do what I say. I know you're not. That's really important information. And your reputation is right there on the edge. Do you want it to go up or down right now? Because if you give the command, I'm telling you what it's going to do. It's going down. Go ahead.
So there were 2 silk flower pens, and one was white and one was pink. And I set the white, you told me to set the white one down. She played with it for a while. And then you said set the other one down, but you don't want her to play with it. You went through that whole thing. And right there, I mean, in the space of maybe 5 minutes.
In front of all these people now.
In front of all these people, and I'd never met you. You were just coaching me from off to the side. I taught my 1-year-old which pen she could have, and that no meant no. And it was amazing. So then I thought maybe I should listen to you a little more. So then when Abby had just turned 3. I had been coming to Doc West's classes off and on for a couple of years, and we were getting ready for bed. Everybody was getting ready for bed. I think I had 3 kids at the time. And I told Abby, I want you to go into your room, take your clothes off, and put your pajamas on. Do you understand? She said yes. She goes into her room. 10 minutes later, I go to check on her, and she still had her clothes on. And I said, didn't I ask you to put your pajamas on? She said yes. I said, did you? And she looked at me and said, no. And I said, oh, okay. Well, that, you know what happens when you disobey, you have to say I'm sorry and get a SWAT. Are you ready to say I'm sorry and get a SWAT? Because you had told us, you know, the receiving of the discipline. You want her to receive the discipline, be sorry, receive the discipline. Well, she didn't want to say sorry or get a SWAT. So I said, well, that's fine. It's bedtime. You're going to bed. I'm going to bed, and I'll see you in the morning. So the next morning, I said, do you remember what happened last night? I refreshed her memory. And I said, are you ready to say I'm sorry and get your SWAT? And she said, no.
I want to point out now, we're talking about a 3-year-old. This would not work with a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old would not have the memory, but a 3-year-old does have the memory. A 3-year-old can carry this to tomorrow, remember what happened yesterday. And so the 3-year-old says, I remember everything about this. I don't have all the emotion that I had maybe, but I do remember what the point of it all was, is you think you're in charge, and no, you're still not in charge, is what she just now said. Way to go, Abby.
So I said, you're going to stay in your room, you're not allowed to look at books, you're not allowed to play, you're not going to see your brothers and sisters, you're not going to come to the table for meals until you're ready to say I'm sorry and get a SWAT. So she took breakfast in her room. I checked on her periodically through the morning. She had lunch in her room. In the afternoon, I heard her call for me, and I thought, oh, good. So I made sure the paddle was nearby, and I poked my head in, and I said, are you ready to say I'm sorry and get your SWAT? And she said, no, I want to know if I can play with my fingers. I was like, okay, yep, go ahead. She had nothing to play with, no stuffed animals, nothing. So she was a little bit stubborn. So that night she took dinner in her room, and when it was time for bed, without any kind of nurturing or any kind of positive interaction, I said, it's time for bed. Are you ready to say I'm sorry and get your SWAT? She said, no. And I said, all right, then go to bed. And I walked out, and I was having a little bit of a crisis because we had paid for Disney on Ice tickets for the following morning, and I didn't know how long this standoff was going to continue. So I was just hoping that I wouldn't have to stay home with her.
Were you ready to?
But I was ready to. I was prepared to.
Get that. Don't
Yeah.
forget that.
And my husband knew if
This is too important.
If this doesn't happen, he was going to take the other kids to Disney on Ice with their grandma, and we would stay home. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, I got woken up. I heard chubby little fingers, and she said, Mom, I'm ready to say I'm sorry and get my SWAT. And I put my glasses on and grabbed my paddle and went into her room. She said she was sorry, and I could tell she meant it. I gave her one quick SWAT. It wasn't even painful, probably. Just the principle of the thing. And then we were fine, and we went to Disney on Ice. But I came to you the next morning at church, and I said, okay, so this is what happened, and I won, but I have an issue, because I cannot put my life on hold for 2 days every week and do this with my child. I mean, that's not going to work for me. And you said, well, what do you need to do? And I said, well, I need to return library books and get groceries and, you know, run here and there, visit a friend, have a play date. And you said, if running your errands, returning your books is more important to you than instilling the proper response to authority in your child, by all means, go run your errands. And I said, okay, I'll do it, but how do I avoid having this standoff every week, every day? And you said, stop telling her to do stuff. And I said, like what? And you said, stop telling her to come to the table, stop telling her to put her shoes on, stop telling her to get in the van, stop it. Until you know that she's ready to obey you. And then we went through a process of giving her, you know, refreshing her mind to the standoff, and then giving her one command at a time and practicing it, and then adding a command. But it was interesting, those few days I realized how much I talked to my child, how much I boss her around.
Blah, 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 blah.
And during those, it was 3 or 4 days that I tried not to give any commands at all. I would pick her up and put her in her seat for dinner. And if she didn't eat, I would just push her fork a little bit closer, but let her take the lead on everything. And I didn't, I didn't really give her any commands at all. And then we slowly reintroduced obedience and one at a time, and it worked.
Tell me about Abby today.
She's wonderful.
What a guy.
No. She's obedient, she's respectful, kind, helpful.
With the other children.
With all, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Abby's becoming a major player in the family. And in a larger family, the strategy would be to think of your older child as being the next adult. That's going to be a help with with you being outnumbered. You got 2 adults and 4 children. It'd be a lot better to have 3 adults and 3 children. It'd be a whole lot better to have 4 adults and 2 children. And if you think this way, you're actually moving your older, the most mature of the children. You're moving that child into the condition of becoming more and more responsible. But this is by training still. This is also by training. My mother did this with me. I was the babysitter for my 2 younger brothers for years. Now, she didn't leave me alone with the younger brothers until I was probably 13 or 14. I don't remember how old I was. But she already had me supervising them. And I actually believe this probably had to do partly with why I became a pediatrician, is because I really enjoyed working with children. I just always enjoyed working with children. And I just saw how you did it, that's all. And it helps, it makes your life easier if you get one of these little ones into somebody that's helpful. And that's what you're doing with Abby. It's wonderful. I like that. And I'm speaking now fairly early, and this is what Angie did by age 3. She was already working with Abby. She was moving toward fellowship and saying fellowship will bring you back, whereas coercion only just causes you to defy me worse. I don't need your rejection of my authority. I need you to accept my authority, and you will accept my authority because you miss me. Our relationship is so important to you. You miss me, and you'll be back. And Angie believed that. She believed that she'd be back. And sure enough, she came back. Answer, by the way, for how long this is going to go on would be this. Commonly, not much longer. If you ever break it, the kid said, I don't want to do that again. I'll never forget doing this with my child when she was 2 1/2. She crossed me at the table. I didn't do it before 2 1/2. When she was 2 1/2, she crossed me at the table. I said, honey, you can't talk to Daddy that way. I said, go into your room now until you're sorry. I wasn't mad at her. She was fine with that. She went storming off the room and slammed the door. 2 1/2-year-old kid. Very tough kid. And I went down at bedtime. I said, honey, it's time to go to bed. And she was laying on top of her little bed, with her little arms folded like this, and her little chin stuck out. I said, are you sorry? She said, nope. I laughed. I just laughed. I said, okay, well, you'll be here until you're sorry, and so I'll see you in the morning. And I just walked away. It was bedtime anyway. And the next morning, I went down and woke her up. I called her from her door. I said, Julie, it's time to wake up. And Julie shook it off and looked over at me. I said, do you remember what happened last night when you went to bed? 2 1/2, she remembers. You can see it on her face. Yeah, she remembered. I said, you still owe me an apology. When you can tell me you're sorry, you can come out of your room. But don't come out till you're ready, okay? I walked away. 15 minutes later, she was in my arms, just as sorry as she could be. That was the first time that happened. That was a very long night for me. I know it was a long night for you too. It happened a second time. This time, during the night, she came down and woke me up and said she was sorry. And after that, it just stopped. She didn't do that anymore. She would sometimes be several hours working through her anger, but she knew there's no point in going on with this. I'd wait forever as far as she knew. And it's a lot easier to do it when they're young. to wait and 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 wait until finally the kid says, I'm through. I can't do this. And that's when the child's teachable. And that's when you get all your work done, is when they're teachable. You don't mess with it when they're not teachable. You wait till they're teachable. Okay?